have just run the gamut over the course of these 6 student films. We started with a 5-minute horror film, which essentially is a commentary on what is going on inside women's bodies and their lack of control. We then moved to an experimental film that Xixing did, correct? I hope I'm pronouncing right. Essentially about the impact on pedestrians of the incessant traffic that is constantly threatening them or forcing them to, creating personality change as they deal with all of the noise and the danger of just trying to exist alongside immense amounts of traffic. We then had a character documentary, and we will ask you about Heidi. It's not often you get a character who's that lively, lucid, funny. Good for you. Good for finding it. For finding her in the middle of the desert. We had a film about students who are in a very tenuous relationship, one of whom is really boiling up inside and has been unable to find a proper outlet for his rage. And his rage extends not only to another student, but to his own father. We had a send-up of TikTok, which actually was pretty elaborate, if you think about it, how they staged a lot of these scenes. And we then concluded with, the final one was a USC film that is very cultural, and actually becomes cross-cultural as the idea behind the young man taking these acting lessons so that he could fake it at a funeral, because that is the custom, somehow in the end registers with his teacher, who has a lot of the same issues about the relationship with the father that the young man has. So we're going to start. I'd like to ask you how you conceived your film. It's an experimental film, but what sort of made you interested in doing, especially, I know this highway in Philadelphia. It's no fun. So talk to us about how your film came to be and what you thought you wanted to convey.
Yeah, so I'm from Shanghai. I grew up there, and I come to college in the States. And what I feel about is that people see driving very differently here compared to where I'm from. In a lot of the places in the States, I feel like if you don't have a car, you just cannot go there anywhere. So that made me interested into the relationship between cars and people. And also, the very last scene in my short is actually my own apartment.
That's your apartment?
Yeah,
yes.
So I can actually...
It's quiet there.
Yeah, so my apartment is next to a busy road, so I'm always listening to this noise of the cars when I'm in my apartment. And then I wanted to talk about what people feel like when they are living in a landscape where it is mainly designed for drivers. So I come to find this highway. It is a huge highway in northeast Philly.
Yes.
And it's a super busy highway. And what surprised me is that there's a lot of people living just next to the highway. So I was just interested in how would people feel when they are facing such busy traffic. And what I want to convey, so I didn't use narrative techniques or interviews or more traditional ways in documentary. What I basically want to show is the bodily experience, the sensual experience of people who don't have a car, but in a driver-centric landscape.
Mm-hmm. I thought you accomplished that. It's well done. It's observational, but there's also the repetitiveness of cars, and the pedestrians. Even the simple act of crossing the street or standing by the side of a road and having you be so secondary to the cars, it's diminishing. It felt like the humans were shrinking during the course of your film.
Right, definitely. I want to show how people might feel the incompetency of the body compared to cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's well done. What might you do next? What's your next film that you'd like to work on?
During the summer break, I went back to Shanghai and I did some. I shoot my grandparents because I was living in my grandma's house and I was seeing her as she's aging. she's moving more and more difficultly. So I was also trying to capture her, how she's facing aging, and I also feel like I communicate more when I'm shooting her. So I'm glad. Also glad about the process.
How old is she?
83 years.
83.
Yeah.
And is she a willing subject? Is she talking along? Yes, she is. Okay. Very nice.
She feels generally natural when I'm shooting her. Yeah.
That's good. Can you just tell the audience what college you are at when you shot this film?
Oh, yeah. I go to Harvard College in Pennsylvania.
In Haverford, okay.
And I study film studies at Swarthmore College, which is next to my college. So this is my short is a homograph, one of the film production class.
Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. And you're going to be you're going back to Haverford in September?
Yeah.
Okay. When do you graduate?
I'm a senior.
You'll be a senior this year. Good. Congratulations. Keep up the very good work, and I hope you'll come back to us with another film. If you could hand the mic over to Stephen. Does anybody have a clue about existential action thriller? I mean, let's talk about the title, which apparently Heidi gave to you by articulating something like that. Tell us about that, and also about how you came to meet her, and then her willingness, which seemed very ample, to be the subject of a film.
Yes, existential action thriller was completely just taken from the name of a show she was preparing for. And it really felt appropriate for this film, especially the part I captured on film where she's describing where she first heard the term. And I met her because, so I have a background in art, I have an MFA in art, so I've been very interested in art, and I've been working as a photographer, taking photos of artwork for artists. I knew Heidi because I would take photos for her, and my wife worked with her at Oregon College of Art and Crafts, so that's how I met her. I was in a documentary film production class, and
Where?
at Portland Community College.
PCC. There you go.
PCC in
Good.
Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
And I was thinking about ideas for a film for my final project, and the first idea I had, it didn't seem like it was going to work, so I was a little nervous about asking my wife if I could fly down to the Mojave Desert and do a film there. She was very supportive, and so one thing led to another.
When you say she was supportive, does that mean that you were down there for 2 or 3 weeks, or just a short amount of time? I'm just kind of curious.
I was there for about 4 days.
4 days. Okay, that's reasonable.
The nervousness is that we have 2 kids, so I didn't want to ditch her with the kids.
I see. I see. So over the span of 4 days, you were able to capture sufficient material to fashion this film.
Yes.
Well done. What did you find? Mojave is really rugged. So was there any particular day where perhaps shooting was was very challenged, or just everything seemed to fall into place?
Well, let's see. So I knew I wanted to do the standard interview, the lighting setup. So I did that one the first day, and started getting some B-roll. I had some basic ideas. I knew that she liked to go looking in the environment for, I guess, trash to potentially inspire her for artwork. I wanted to follow her on one of those outings, and so it was her idea to go to this spot she likes near Home Depot.
Yes.
So
she was very, very excited by going to that. She wanted to go to the cacti.
Yes.
In order to extract stuff that got stuck on the cacti.
Yes.
That's cool.
And I knew I wanted to try to do that. I didn't know how it would turn out, but I had a good camera with like kind of gimbal-like stabilizer on it, so we were just out there following. Yeah. I followed her, and the miking was a bit of a challenge with the the wind currents, and
yes.
But it all worked out.
Yeah. Well, she was a very expressive character. they're often hard to come by. So I'm assuming that having met her when she was in Portland, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. So you already had a sense of what the potential could be for the film, and she would be very willing and interesting per se.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew she was very lucid in talking about her art. I knew she was funny. I knew she was like, just, a little bit crazy in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And that her new home would be pretty cinematic, so
Yeah.
I figured that it had all the ingredients for some potential.
Yeah. Can you give the audience a sense of what it was like to walk into her studio? Because it's pretty eclectic in there. Just curious, as a filmmaker, it's like, whoa, I'm going to get it all right. How did you kind of boil that down? Because it seemed to be quite the environment.
Yeah, I guess I have done a lot of, commercial photography where I have to do, get a space to look just right for, like a photo. But I didn't try to do that at all in her studio. I figure it'd be better just to capture it as it is, which was just, stuff everywhere. I didn't, like for the interview setup, I didn't want to mess with her, there's just random stuff on the desk next to her, a cat, there's like a torch, some casting supplies. I didn't want to change any of that. I thought that was kind of part of her character.
Yeah. Well, that lends some immediacy to it because everywhere you moved your camera, there was something you could fix on and sort of think, okay, man, she's got quite the array of, not props, but I mean, what stimulates her was very, very interesting, very broad. Who has questions for either of the filmmakers? Yes, go ahead. And should we come up with a microphone?
No?
Okay.
I was curious about why you threw the Roadrunner part in there at the very end.
Oh, yeah, belong.
And, is that an afterthought, or was that something you wanted to work into the whole thing?
Well, before I went down to shoot, I had a phone call with her and just to try to, do some pre-production interview to figure out what we might include in the film. She mentioned how she has these roadrunners that she hangs out at her place. She feeds them raw ground beef to kind of encourage them to hang out. So I was like, okay, that seems like part of the character picture I wouldn't mind including. And so I spent so much time hanging out with my camera trying to get the right shot of the roadrunner. So it was I was a little bit married to it. Probably if I had someone editing besides myself, they say the director shouldn't edit too. They might have just let that go, but I figured like after the credit it would be something I could slip in.
I would be grateful if anybody in the audience could do an impression of the Roadrunner from a Warner Brothers cartoon. Anybody want to try that? No? Meep, meep. Okay. Who else has questions? Observations? Anything? Yes, go ahead. Yes.
I thought it was perfect that you ended with the Roadrunners because you opened with the rattlesnakes.
Yeah. Well, apparently,
There was a
yeah,
question.
who else? Yes, up top, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, in with all the footage of the cars, this is for you, Ken. How did you gather a ton of footage, or did you kind of narrow it down to the exact shots that you want? But was it like what was your sort of style of shooting? Like, did you spend like a lot of days gathering a ton, or did you find exactly where you wanted to go?
So I actually took a lot of footages.
Yeah.
I was shooting during weekends. In the semester, I think I shoot for 5 or 6 weeks, and like I shoot a lot of different footages, and I was like selecting from them during editing. So editing is a lot of work for sure. And I also shoot now when I'm shooting the pedestrians. It's a little bit difficult because like I need to. It's a lot about timing when you're shooting on site. So so most of the selections during editing.
So you shot about what, 10 hours of footage?
I think maybe 3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours, which you boil down to 6 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
There we go. Okay, so when you write your first novel, and it turns out to be 800 pages, please come back with 150. Just a bit of advice. Who else has questions? Yes?
For each of you, how did you find out about this festival and decide to apply?
I was looking at different festivals, and I think this festival is about new filmmakers. I just want to get a try. Yeah. And also, I know Meadowberry, and sort of like visiting here.
Oh, have you been here before?
No, this is my first time here.
Okay. Stephen, what about you?
Well, this was my first time ever even considering trying to get into a film festival. I mean, because it was my first film. So I noticed on Film Freeway there's like 13,000 festivals listed.
Yeah, that's right.
And so to narrow it down, I would just look, they have a way to filter it by like top rated film festivals, and this one was on the list. And I noticed that they had an award for depiction in the art of the arts. So I was like, that kind of makes sense to me. So
Yeah.
that's how I picked that one.
Well, it is true. First of all, thank you for that question. I'm grateful for that. We are a top 100 best reviewed festival on Film Freeway. There are over 10,000 worldwide. And the reason we are a best reviewed festival is if you read our reviews from our filmmakers, they're like, they kind of like being here. And they're not shy about saying that after the festival is over. Sometimes I encourage them to write reviews. But then again, that's just my role. But it's not like I'm writing to somebody, hey, you got to go on a deadline, give me a review in 10 minutes. But they write because people have a good time while they're here. And we do, as you know, we focus exclusively on first and second time filmmakers from around the world. So we are a habitat, right? We are a place that if you have made a modest film and you're looking for networking and support and all of that, we're the right place. We're one of the few places that offers just a sole focus on first and second time filmmakers. Any other questions?
I have
Oh wait, up top we have one. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say heartfelt thank you. I've got 70 high eights of my son just being, doing his music and everything else. That really reminded me of the driving one. Every car, every moment, a car is a soul, really. And so you get all that going. And then the whole thing about the Mojave, I've lived in the desert, high desert, and I know what road rotors are. And that was just one of the best I've ever seen. I've seen a lot, and I appreciate it.
Well, that's good. That's high praise. Way to go.
I had an observation and a question about your film. I was really taken by the sound design. So how did you approach that? I thought the sound of the motors was just really oppressive almost. Just really, can you talk about that?
I didn't learn a lot about sound design, so I just mainly do it by intuition. So about the footages that is shot in cars, I was trying to make the sound like wrapping and enveloping, and making it feel like more safe when you're driving the car. And about the footages that are shot on the street, I was trying to make the noise more disturbing. And also between the edits, I was trying to make the noise like jump suddenly into the next shot. So yeah, that's both what I'm thinking about when I'm doing sound design.
Let's have one more round of applause for Sushin and also for Stephen.